Yeah, iCloud. Sweet. So the theme of today's call is going to be 100% about getting your field recruits from the pipeline to actually watch a corporate spotlight, or sorry, a career spotlight, and filling out an application questionnaire. So this could be anybody from somebody that you meet out in the field to somebody that you meet if you want to call RMS. Or if you want to put up a Craigslist ad or whatever it is, or if they're a friend of a friend, or if you have people on your team that are getting field recruits, if you can call them up to those field recruits and get them to watch a spotlight, or if you just meet somebody sharp, out in the field of how to get them to watch the spotlight, because we're going to come to a point where I will not be able to call every single field recruit just because we have so many coming my way. So I'm gonna have to train you guys, people in my agency and people in Van's agency, on how to set up people with spotlights for yourself, because we will get to a point where we just get so big that me and Van won't have time to call every single recruit in the entire pipeline. So, which is a very good problem to have. So be sure to take some good notes, guys. I'm going to give you guys an exact role play of what I say, word for word of what I say whenever I talk to a field recruit over the phone. And it's pretty much the exact same thing. I did this all day yesterday. I was calling resumes. I called field recruits. And I'm going to give you guys an exact word for word of what I said to Brandy Grant's field recruit to get her to watch the corporate spotlight. And then that lady filled out an application questionnaire. And we have a second interview today here at 1:00 today. So, yeah, we're going to go into that. But also know that it's very similar. What you say in situations, whether it's face-to-face or over the phone, the verbiage is the exact same. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of go through the entire process of whenever I speak to somebody. So this is somebody who usually it's over the phone. So this could be a field recruit I get that I call later on that day, or it could be a field recruit that one of my team members sends me, or if somebody sends me a message on Facebook, this is what I'm going to say to them. Or even if they're kind of I'll give you another example at the end of if I'm calling somebody from RMS. Okay, like if we're doing like a power hour, there's a very small tweak if you're calling somebody from RMS, which I'll give you that example here in a few minutes. But yeah, so this is pretty much what it looked like. I called Chelsea Childers. She's a field recruit of Brandy Graham from yesterday. Brandy was working a big enrollment up in Lowe's, up in Morganton, North Carolina, last week, and she met a guy named Mark, who's one of the managers at Lowe's. And Mark has been working there for a long time. And Brandy told Mark that we're currently hiring. That if you know anybody sharp, good with people, that we were trying to hire folks who want to make over $60,000-$70,000 a year one. And he was like, "Whoa, my wife, she's really good with people. She's a people person. She actually already has her insurance license." So Brandy got his wife's number and just talked to her for a quick minute, and then edified me. And then I called Chelsea yesterday at 3:00, and we had a good, it was a very long conversation. But I'm going to tell you guys exactly what I said. The first part of what I said that really got her to be sold on watching a career spotlight, which is our first interview in the company. So I called Chelsea, and I was like, "Hey, is this Chelsea? Hey, Chelsea, this is Kyle Schneider. How are you doing? I work with Brandy Graham." And she was like, "Great. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, Brandy actually gave me your number today and wanted me to reach out and explain the career opportunity a little bit further. Do you have a quick minute for me to ask you a few questions?" Perfect. Awesome. So I know that she met your husband, Mark, at Lowe's. Does that sound correct? Awesome. And don't you guys live in Morganton? Great. Is that where you guys are from originally? Awesome. What high school did you go to? I have a customer that actually works at Eastburg Middle School. Her husband's Tommy Oxendine, and her name's Haley Oxendine. And it's funny because they actually knew this couple. And then once I figured out that they knew that couple, I was like, "Oh, wow, you probably knew Brian Carswell as well, because he's a really good friend of Tommy." They're like, "Yep, we know them too." Holy smokes. Well, they're both customers of mine for the last 2 years. They're like, "Oh my gosh." So guys, regardless of if you're field recruiting or selling insurance, I use names 24/7. If I'm calling somebody to get them to watch a career spotlight, I don't care if they live in Gastonia, if they live in Statesville, they live in Charlotte, they live in Asheville. I have names. Like, I've been doing this job for a long time. I want to use names of my customers or CJ's customers, or if I'm, wherever they live, I'm gonna use my best to use a name that they may recognize, just like I do whenever I'm selling insurance. Okay. So use names 24/7 in this business. And they knew two of my customers. So I just kind of talked about that for a little bit. And yeah, so just build some basic rapport, ask them where they're from, how long they've been there in the area, what high school they went to. These are very similar questions that we ask when we actually sit down with somebody when we're first doing a cancer policy demo, right? How long are you from the area? Like, where'd you go to high school? Those basic questions. I ask the exact same questions whenever I'm talking to somebody over the phone. So the next part, once I built that rapport, I just kind of dove right into it. I was like, hey, so Chelsea, so what is your current job situation right now? Are you working full-time, part-time, or not at all? Okay. And she was like, well, I actually have my insurance license and I'm working with American Senior Benefits. I was like, perfect. Do you see yourself working there forever? Or is it more of like a temporary thing right now? Okay. So that's a crucial line, guys, that you want to say if they currently have a job right now, if it's a full-time or part-time, that's what I say every single time. Awesome. Do you see yourself working there forever? Or is it more of a temporary thing right now? Okay. And you can say that when you're sitting down with somebody in the field, if they're a sharp candidate, be like, hey man, you're good with people. Like, do you see yourself working here forever, or is this more of a temporary thing right now? Because I promise you, most people are going to say this is a temporary thing, or I definitely don't see myself working here forever. So that kind of opens up the door. And then what I say right after I said that, I'm like, hey, so if you were to make a career change, what exactly would you be looking to get into? Okay. And I just let her talk. I just let Chelsea talk for a couple minutes about what she was looking for. And it doesn't matter what they say. So if they say, oh, I'm trying to get into this, I'm trying to run my own business, or I'm trying to get into nursing, or I'm trying to get into management, or a career that can help me grow, or, something where I can just make more money or more time off, where I can spend more time there. It doesn't matter what they say. I'm just like, perfect. That's awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a quick overview of what we do. And if it sounds good, then I'll set you up with an interview. Does that sound great? Perfect. Okay. So that's a quick transition. So it's like, hey, so I'm going to go ahead and give you a quick overview of what we do. And if it sounds good, I will set you up with an interview with our company. Right on? Sweet. So, and this is the part, guys, that is really easy, because all you have to do is sell us. You sell Globe Life, you sell what we do, how fun it is. And I will give you guys my quick 30-second elevator pitch of what I actually say about what we do. So this is what it sounds like. Hey, so I work with Globe Life. You've probably heard about it. We're actually called a Family Heritage Division. It's a really big company. Globe Life, we actually offer the #1 supplemental benefits in America. And we're actually the #1 life insurance company in America overall. So very big company. What we do on like a macro scale is we actually protect families financially when bad things happen. So like if, somebody was to get diagnosed with cancer or a heart condition or a bad accident, or they get some, critical illness, we're going to pay that family lots of money to really help them out. But what we're looking for is we're actually really looking for somebody who's just really good with people, somebody who's really fun to work with, somebody who's very hungry, independent, driven, and someone who's just really trying to grow within a company and move up the career track into a big time sales and leadership position. So Chelsea, this is definitely different than what you were doing, but does that sound like something that you'd want to get more information on? All right, guys, that's my closing line, and it works very, very, very well. Okay. Never say the word interested. Would that be something you'd be interested in? No. You say, but does that sound like something you'd want to get more information on? Does that sound like something you want to get more information on? That's a very safe way to ask. And 90% of the time, they're gonna be like, yeah, for sure. I definitely want to get more information on that. So let me go ahead and just kind of redo that part. So most people that I talk to, guys, have never done insurance before. Most people I recruit have never even been in direct sales. Some of them have been in some kind of sales, maybe like a bartending or, waitress, or they've been like a maybe inside sales gig or something. But I promise you, in the last month, I have yet to talk to somebody who's done outside sales. So most every person I say, I'm like, hey, so this definitely is different than what you have been doing for the last 10 or 15 years. But does that sound like something that you'd want to get more information on? So it's almost like a mini buying atmosphere. Like, yeah, it's totally different than what you've been doing, but does this sound like something you want to get more information on? People like that. Okay. It just, kind of a little buying atmosphere for them. So once you get that part, now is the very technical, it's probably the most important part, because it's the time that we have to get them to commit to watching a corporate spotlight. Okay, guys, and I don't care if you're calling RMS resumes or you're talking to your best friend or a field recruit. This has to be done the exact same way. It doesn't matter who you're talking to. This is crucial because if you just send out the spotlight to people, they're not going to ever watch it. I promise you. I was doing a bunch of stats yesterday and looking at how many field recruits we had at the beginning of the year. We were just getting a ton of field recruits, but the reason why they weren't watching the spotlight is because we were not getting them to commit to actually watching a corporate webinar. So this is exactly what you say word for word. So so once I say, but does that sound like something you don't want to get more information on? They're going to say, yeah, for sure. I definitely want to get more information on it. Awesome. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to set you up with a career overview with our company. It's actually your first interview. Okay. And they usually say, okay, perfect. So it's a 17-minute video that you're going to watch. And it explains more detail about who we are, what we do and how we do it, and what we're looking for. Then once you are done with that, you'll fill out an application questionnaire if you want to be considered for a spot on my team. So I'm going to go ahead and email you that link to watch the webinar right now. So really quick, let me make sure that I have your right email address. What is your email address again? Perfect. Okay. And Chelsea, you can watch this webinar at any time, but I do have to set you up with an exact time slot to watch it. Okay. Because this is your first interview. So you can watch this anytime today or tomorrow. What day works best for you? Okay, great. So tomorrow, so we have time in the morning, the middle of the day, and the afternoon. What part of the day would you prefer? The morning? Great. So we have 8 o'clock in the morning and 10 o'clock a.m. Which time slot works best for you? 8 a.m.? Awesome. So I'm going to set you with 8 a.m. Sound good, Chelsea? Perfect. So I'm going to email you right after we get out the call. And make sure that whenever you watch this webinar tomorrow at 8 a.m., that you're in a quiet area, you're ready to take some really good notes because there's a lot of good details on this call. And like I said, if you want to be considered for a position, make sure that you fill out the application questionnaire immediately afterwards. Okay. It'll be a tab right below the video that says, I want to learn more. Click on that, fill out the application questionnaire. And then once I get those application questionnaires in, my manager or myself will be calling you to set up a one-on-one second interview. Sound good? Awesome. Perfect. So tomorrow, Chelsea, 8 a.m. Good luck with it, and I'll talk to you later. Boom. So, guys, that is that's kind of how I end the calls, and it's very technical, but you have to get a very, 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 very specific. I make it sound like this is their first interview because I promise you, if you just send out webinars all day to people, oh yeah, watch anytime, you're never going to get anywhere. Like you're never going to have anything come from that. So you need to get them, at very, very, very specific. So I'm going to run through that last part one more time, just kind of give you guys one more idea of what it looks like. So great, Chelsea. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to set you up with a career overview. It's your first interview with our company. Sound good? So it's a 17-minute video that you're going to watch. It explains a little more detail about who we are, what we do and how we do it, and what we're looking for. Then once you are done with that, you'll fill out an application questionnaire if you want to be considered for a position on our team. So I'm going to email you the link to watch the webinar right after we get out the call. Okay, so let me make sure that I have your right email address. Okay, is your email address blah, 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 blah. And they're like, okay, perfect. So make sure you have the right email address. So, and Chelsea, you can watch this webinar at any time, but I do have to set you up with an exact time slot to watch it in, okay? Because this is like your first interview. So you can watch it anytime today or tomorrow. What day works best for you? Always give them a choice of two options, either today or tomorrow. Great. So you can do it anytime tomorrow morning, middle of the day, or afternoon. What part of tomorrow works best for you? Great. Okay. So in the morning, so 8 a.m. or 10 a.m., which one would you prefer? 8 a.m. Perfect. So I'm going to, right when we get off the phone, Chelsea, I'm going to email you and it's going to have a link to watch the webinar tomorrow at 8 a.m. And just make sure that you're in a quiet area. Be ready to take some good notes whenever you watch the webinar, as there's lots of good details on there. And and like I said, if you want to be considered for a position, make sure that you fill out the questionnaire, the application questionnaire. It's on a tab right below the video that says I want to learn more. Make sure you fill that out and submit it. And then once we get those questionnaires back in, we'll be calling people to set up one-on-one second interviews. Sound good? Perfect. Well, good luck in your webinar tomorrow at 8 a.m. Chelsea, have a great rest of your day. Boom. So guys, that's pretty much it. That was a very technical piece right there.